Joe lies. He lies. He lies. Do you know that? Joe does lie.
Yeah, he's a lying, cheating son of a...
It's true. So, now, let me get this straight. You really had never seen this movie until we watched it.
Right.
You never saw this movie.
And I chose it.
How does that work? Like, how did I don't understand that.
My friend loved the movie and she loaned it to me years and years ago.
Well, save it. Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, and your sommelier of cinema, Robert Meyer Burnett. And I'm here with my trusty compatriot.
Am I trusty?
I think you are. You don't lie.
I don't lie. I am Elysabeth Gwendolyn Belle. I am the ace, the arbiter of cinematic excellence, and the enchantress of entertainment.
The enchantress of entertainment. And where are we? What is this?
This is WINEning About Movies.
WINEning About Movies, episode 66.
66.
But there's a very terribly tragic thing that we have to tell the viewers.
I think this is hilarious.
I don't find it hilarious at all. Let's make sure that we are looking into the camera to explain to them exactly what's happening. This is not good.
This is very funny.
We have a big announcement to make.
So, I've been very busy with my finals for school, so I didn't realize until like 20 minutes ago that we don't have any wine. No wine.
There's
So
no
there,
vino,
no wine.
no vino veritas or whatever. We get nothing.
So we're drinking sparkling water.
Sparkling water, which, I mean, I'm going to open this. What is this? It's cucumber lime with mint. Now, I'm not going to drink this, but I'll pour you up one. We'll
Thank
drink
you.
it out of a wine glass. I mean,
Yes.
you know, this is no reflection of the movie, by the way. No one should think that we think less of Say Anything, that we couldn't be bothered to go get some wine.
Right.
We just, you've been busy working on finals, and I've been putzing around doing stuff, all kinds of YouTube shows. I am drinking the greatness that is AHA sparkling coffee and black cherry.
That's the last one, so...
It's the last one. I think we're going to have to hit... Yeah, we're down to the dregs, babe. Not that these are dregs. I mean, I drink this stuff like it's great.
Oh, we're supposed to do a show tomorrow.
We
I guess
are.
we better go shopping.
We are doing a show tomorrow, and you know what we're watching tomorrow? Because I got it today. I got a Sunday delivery from Europe. Guess what I have? Ooh, if you look at my Instagram feed, you know. That's right. I got the Studio Canal big box set already out of print. Can't get it anymore. It's gone. Flash Gordon. Gordon's alive. She's never seen Flash Gordon.
I haven't.
I got the brand new 4K. And it's fantastic. You're drinking. We haven't even toasted the movie yet.
Oops.
So anyway, we are watching Flash Gordon tomorrow, which she has never seen. What?
Yes, we are.
Flash Gordon, brand new transfer. Ooh, yeah. I can't wait. All kinds of documentary stuff. It's a 5-disc set.
Awesome.
It's awesome. I mean, it's
I'm looking forward to it.
Of all the Studio Canal 4K European discs. Now, for those of you who are interested in getting Flash Gordon in 4K, Arrow is putting out a domestic version that's chock-a-block full of special features. That comes out, I don't know if it comes out Tuesday or maybe the following Tuesday, but you can get it here. But it just doesn't have, like, it comes with an embroidered, the one I just got today comes with an embroidered Flash patch, poster. It's great. So.
Ooh, can I have the patch?
What?
Can I have the patch?
No, because then it would be an incomplete set.
You're just going to leave it in the box.
Yeah.
I would put the patch on something.
You haven't even seen the movie. What if you don't like it?
I like patches.
But that doesn't mean you necessarily like the Flash Gordon patch.
If it's a patch, I like it.
What if it was a swastika?
Okay.
You wouldn't like that patch.
Well, no. I wouldn't like that patch. But come on.
What if you don't like Flash Gordon? My friend Bryn Pryor, he hates Flash Gordon. He thinks it's awful.
Yeah, but if the patch looks cool,
He's
I
wrong.
would still use the patch.
Oh, man. Well, let's drink to Cameron Crowe's debut, his directorial debut, 1989's Say Anything.
Maybe
Cheers.
this is a... Well, let's take a sip.
Oh, my God, I love this stuff.
Very refreshing.
Very refreshing. Not as refreshing as a nice Pinot or a Chardonnay or Cab Sauv, a Merlot, a Shiraz,
Yeah, we love wine.
That'd be better.
Should we talk about what we got in the mail?
Well, I did mention it on the show yesterday, but perhaps you can, because we have not heard from you about what we got in the mail. From Julius.
Yes, so from Julius sent us
Julius Godin.
a wine-making kit.
A wine-making kit. And you were very excited. I'm excited.
I am so excited.
But you cracked it open.
I couldn't help it. I needed to read the pamphlet to see how to do it. And I'm so excited. We're going to make our own wine. We'll make a video when we make our own wine.
Yeah.
And it has to sit for 6 months. So in 6 months from when we make it, we will crack that bottle open.
Are we still going to be doing the show in 6 months?
I'm good with doing the show in 6 months. Are you?
Well, it's pretty great because if we think about the movies, just the movies that I own, I've got about 2,500 Blu-rays and 4K discs.
Yeah.
So if we do 3 times a week, we're good for years.
There's so many movies.
So many
movies.
Well, we're here to talk about one specific movie, and that would be Say Anything.
Yes.
And so Say Anything was director Cameron Crowe, who later went on to, of course, direct Singles. And Say Anything and Singles are his, Seattle duology. Because he made Say Anything, and then soon after he made Singles, which is also about Seattle.
I haven't seen that.
You have seen Singles.
Yes, I have.
I showed it to you.
Yes, I have. With that really tall guy.
That really tall guy.
Isn't it?
Matt Dillon?
Oh, no. I'm not thinking of the same movie.
Touch Me, I'm Dick. Remember Citizen Dick? They're going to rock Portland. Anyway, then he went on to, of course, direct Jerry Maguire. He went on and made Vanilla Sky. And then he made The Great Almost Famous, which we should watch on the show.
Oh.
We Bought a Zoo. Aloha.
I love We Bought a Zoo. Because it was filmed in my neighborhood. It was filmed in my neighborhood.
In Los Feliz?
Yes.
Okay, well, anyway.
And I love Matt Damon.
I know you love Matt Damon. Like Sarah Silverman.
She loves Matt Damon?
She does love Matt Damon.
But you know who doesn't love Matt Damon?
Who doesn't love Matt Damon? Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Because of Sarah Silverman. So this is way off topic. Let's focus, Elizabeth. You have to be.
It's funny how we don't focus when we're not drinking wine.
Well, that's the thing. We're focused on our wine. Without having alcoholic beverages in our system.
No, you think it'd be the other way around.
You would, but it's not true.
Okay, let's talk about our movie.
So Say Anything that you suggested, and I did not know when we sat down to watch it that you hadn't seen it.
I wasn't sure if I had seen it or not.
Yeah, we're watching this movie, and you're like, I haven't seen this movie before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how could you not see this movie?
I don't know. I missed it.
How can you not, Diane Court and Lloyd Dobler?
Yeah, I mean, it came out in 89.
89.
I was a junior in high school.
The perfect time to be watching this film, and you apparently didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
Okay, well, do you remember what you saw a couple days ago? Why don't you tell us what Say Anything is about?
Okay, so it starts off with these 2 girls and this guy talking in a bedroom before their graduation. And the guy, Lloyd
Dobler, played by the great John Cusack, who's great in the movie.
I love him.
He's great in this film. Great role for him. One of his best roles.
Yeah, no, I like him in...
I mean, I think 80s... there could be an argument made that 80s John Cusack is the best John Cusack. He was in, Better Off Dead.
Why was he not good in the 90s?
No, I think he was good. I like John Cusack. I mean, I liked he in movies like Runaway Jury. I like John Cusack, but I think that there was a sweet spot for him that began with when he had sort of a cameo in Stand By Me, and he was doing the Savage Steve Holland movies like Better Off Dead. I want my $2. And I think that this is peak John Cusack of that era. Peak 80s John Cusack is the culmination of 80s John Cusack.
Yeah. Okay. He was great in this film. So, Lloyd Dobler
is
talking to his best friends, which are Corey and CJ or DJ or
I
CD
forget the,
or
something like that.
some letters. And they're talking about how they're graduating and how he wants to ask the valedictorian girl out.
Diane Court. And
Yeah.
they're saying that she's too good for him.
That she's a total nerd, but a beautiful nerd.
Right.
But she doesn't even know she's beautiful. She's just a nerd.
And he doesn't know her. He says, I had lunch there at the mall once at Bell Square.
Yeah. But he wants to ask her out. And they're like, no, you can't. And then they're like, wait, I think she would like you.
Right, because who wouldn't like
Because he's
Lloyd?
such a nice guy.
And we should set up, there's some interesting stuff going on. This movie is full of very interesting cast.
Yes.
Now, Lloyd Dobler's sister, Constance Dobler, is played by John Cusack's real-life sister,
Yes.
of course, as we know,
Joan.
Joan Cusack, who is not credited in the film.
What? That's insane.
She's uncredited.
Was she not known then?
No, she was known, but she just was not credited in the movie. And I don't know why that is.
That is
There's,
weird.
And there's lots of
Because
very...
her role wasn't tiny.
No, it wasn't tight. No, it's a big role. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of like Eric Stoltz is in this movie, who plays the rooster. You know, they go to a party at his house, and Eric Stoltz was a PA on this film, even though he'd been acting. He also plays a mime in Singles, same kind of thing. Like him and Cameron Crowe must be buds
I guess so.
or something. So, and then of course Ione Skye, who she was a sort of a teen actress in, I think she married Ad Rock from Beastie Boys, I think.
Oh. But
And
she
then
didn't do much after this, did she?
well, she did a lot of stuff before. She was like in the Great River's Edge, Tim Hunter's River's Edge, and she was kind of this edgy indie actress. And what I like about it is she's not too pretty.
Yeah.
This is one of the last movies where the teenagers looked like teenagers.
Yes.
I mean, and they weren't. When the 90s came in, kids were they're too beautiful. Like, and to this day, kids in teen films are just too good looking.
It's
And,
true.
I mean, it's not that John Cusack isn't a handsome guy, but he's not necessarily conventionally
Right,
handsome.
right.
And Lily Taylor is pretty, but she's not too pretty. As
Yes.
you know, and same with
They
Ione
just
Skye.
look like normal teenagers.
Normal teenagers. And so the Doblers, their parents are overseas. They're army brats.
Right.
And their parents are overseas, so Lloyd is living with
He lives with his
single sister who has a son.
Husband left her, and yes, she has a 4-year-old son. And the relationship between him and the 4-year-old is really great. It's really cute.
Kind of like Tom Cruise and Jonathan
Yes.
Lipnicki's relationship that we saw later on in Jerry
Absolutely.
Maguire.
Yep. Okay, back to the story.
So graduation happens.
Yeah, so graduation happens, and she has her speech, and nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, she
because
gives the problem with her is that while she's pretty and smart, she's not exactly the most dynamic person in the world, and she's sort of
Right.
socially awkward and
Right, and she's disconnected from her class. I mean, because she never got to know anyone, and so they're not paying attention, except for Lloyd.
except for Lloyd.
And then after graduation, he calls her up,
Calls her out of the blue. Cold call.
cold call.
And talks to her father, who's played by the great John Mahoney.
Yes.
And the John Mahoney and Ione Skye have a really great father-son relationship. The mother has left. By the way, in another crazy, you only meet Ione Skye's mother once in the movie, but she's played by Lois Chiles, who is also uncredited, and Lois Chiles played
Weird.
Dr. Holly Goodhead in the James Bond movie Moonraker.
I thought I recognized
Yeah,
her.
and she's also not credited in the
So
film.
weird. Why is he not crediting these people?
I'm sure that he would have, but for whatever reason, I have no
Does
idea.
that happen a lot?
Well, it doesn't happen a lot because usually you want to get credit.
Yeah, what the hell?
I mean, I don't know if they were getting paid or there was SAG problems or I have no idea. But
Weird.
it's very odd. And you know who else is in this movie, but you don't see them. We watched a deleted scene. Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer Simpson, played her creepy teacher.
Oh, he was at the dinner. He was in the film.
Oh,
He was at the dinner.
Oh.
But that scene, I'm so glad they cut that scene out.
Yeah, that was a really weird. That was a really creepy scene. So,
like,
so anyway, so Lloyd Dobler calls her up. We got to stay on point.
You're the one who keeps deviating.
I know. We should talk about this after we get through the plot.
Yeah, you're just.
I know.
You keep. Yeah. Can we continue?
Yes,
with the
please
plot?
continue. Please continue.
Okay, so he calls and the father answers, and she's not home. So the dad leaves a message for her, and so she calls him back later. And he basically, he tells her she did a great job with her speech, and that he wanted to ask her out. And she's kind of, well, I'm kind of busy. And they go back and forth about how busy she is. And then he's like, well, there's this party every year. And there's this mascot, the chicken, and it does this dance. And you can't miss it. And everybody's going to be there. And he finally convinces her to go. And she says, yes, I'll come. And he can't believe it. So then what?
Well, he goes to her house to pick her up. They're going to go to this party. And there's a great scene where Lloyd meets...
his dad, her
dad. John Mahoney as Jim Court,
right?
Mr. Court, and you see, I mean, one of the great things about John Cusack is he's a smart guy, he's articulate, he's funny, he's just directionless. He doesn't know what he wants to do.
He's also very polite. He doesn't just come in and
no, he's not an Eeyore. I have to say that
he has this interesting conversation with her dad.
Right. And what I really like about having grown up in Seattle.
Yeah.
I mean, and I graduated from high school 4 years before they graduate in this film, and it feels just like Singles. It feels very authentic, because at the time where I was going to school, there weren't a lot of cliques. Like, if somebody had a party, everybody could go to that party if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. Like, there was not a lot of static. I mean, this was very... The portrayal of high school students in this was very realistic to me. It really felt like Seattle. And, when you met... Kids would... when I grew up, you talked to all of your friends' parents. Like, there was no... You were never... You were like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I mean, that was our generation. We were taught to be polite. It was really important.
Yeah, it was important. It's always...
I always spoke to my friends' parents, to my boyfriend's parents, always, and, always said hello when I came in, goodbye when I left.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't shy away from that.
No. And it's funny, now that I think about it, the way John Cusack was kind of awkward and nerdy, but yet very polite, that's what my boyfriend was like in high school. Just like that.
Well, no, it was good. So they go out.
Yeah.
And
they go to this party.
There's this long, protracted party scene, and it's pretty great.
It is.
I mean, in other movies, in movies, you would have had people commenting on how, she's stuck up. I mean, everybody at the party's happy to see her.
Yeah.
And immediately people are talking, and two of the Heathers. Two of the girls who played the Heathers in the movie Heathers, two of them are in this. Lisanne Falk and I forget the other actors, but two of the Heathers are in this movie, which is another interesting casting connection. I think Heathers came out the next year, maybe.
We should do that film.
It's just interesting to see the kind of who's who, and then Jeremy Piven shows up in this movie.
He's funny at the party.
And then of course we meet Lily Taylor's boyfriend,
yeah,
Joe.
So she's really depressed. She had tried to commit suicide, and she's also a songwriter. She sings and plays
she's
guitar.
written 63 songs about Joe, her boyfriend, who they were never really boyfriend girlfriend. Joe always had a girlfriend, but
he was always
Lily Taylor was his side piece.
Right. And so she is there at the party singing her sad
Joe
songs.
Lies.
Joe Lies. And she has this weird interaction with Joe.
And Joe is played by Lauren Dean, who we later see in movies like Gattaca. I mean, but we now seems like the long hair, handsome young dude. What's up? And he's funny.
Yep. Total player.
But it was the party felt very real.
It did.
Because it was fun. Nobody gets in fights. People get drunk. And there was something in there that you Lloyd is immediately made the Keymaster.
Yeah, that must be a Seattle thing, because I'd never heard of Keymaster before. But, yeah.
Well, I thought it was good. Like it shows responsibility. Everybody gives their keys over to the Keymaster.
Great.
And of course, the Keymaster, that job is not necessarily one you want, because you have to be the last person out of the party, because you're making sure that everybody's
right.
key. And then even Barbara Streisand's son is in this movie. And he's like the Flock of Seagulls dude, even though he doesn't, he's got the curly red hair. He's got the new wave hair, and it's kind of a little too late. I mean, his hair would have been better in the mid '80s, but now it's the late '80s, so his style is a little out of.
Hilarious.
We're easing into what would become grunge in Seattle, so it's a little. His fashion's a couple years too late, which made it great.
Yes.
So I like that long party scene. It really a celebration of. It sets up the teen milieu and how we've left high school and then we're moving into the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And they begin this great romance.
Yeah, so she has a good time, and he takes her home and says, he's smitten. So he tells her he wants to see her every single day, and she's like, well, I'm leaving in 6 weeks or 16 weeks. And he's like, well, I want to see you every single day for 16 weeks.
And then they do start dating, and then she invites him to their house for dinner.
Right.
And Lloyd's going to the house, and it's a nice dinner, but then Lloyd becomes sort of the center of attention, and people start asking Lloyd questions.
Yes.
And it's great because you get to hear Lloyd's philosophy of life, and that we found out that John Cusack wrote a manifesto about how he viewed Lloyd Dobler. And that dialogue, Cameron Crowe used John Cusack's manifesto about how he doesn't want to buy anything, he doesn't want to sell anything, and when for later in life, and so they adopted that into the script.
Yeah, it was great.
And it's great, and then they're at Diane's father, Jim, Mr. Court, wants to know, well, what do you want to do in your with your life? And he's like, I just want to be with your daughter. And of course, Jim is very protective, knows his daughter. Jim
is like, yeah, but seriously, what do you want to do with your life? And he just kept saying, well, I want to be with your daughter.
Which is, from the audience perspective, we think it's romantic and fun, but we know that he's not digging this because Lloyd is, he thinks he's a kickboxer, and he says that it's the sport of the future, and so Mr. Court is not really down with Lloyd, but is seeing that the relationship is good and that he's a good guy.
Well, at first he likes Lloyd because his daughter really hasn't been going out and having friends even.
Right.
So he likes, and this is a nice guy and everything. But then at dinner, when he finds out that he has no goals, his opinion kind of turns. His
opinion does turn.
He's just hoping that his daughter will just go away to England on her fellowship, and that'll be the end of it.
And we should say that Jim Court, Diane's father, they're not rich, but they're well off.
Yeah.
And Diane's father runs a assisted living facility for old folks.
Yeah.
And old folks that are functional. It's a nice place. It's more of a home-like environment. And Diane works there.
Yeah.
And he really does seem to care about his patients.
Mm-hmm.
But then at that dinner that he's having, two IRS agents come to visit Diane in the middle of dinner, and they are accusing him of some kind of malfeasance. Mr. Court has been pulling some kind of shenanigans, and the IRS is after him.
They are after him. He has been doing some bad stuff.
Well, we don't know yet.
Well, they're accusing him of doing some bad stuff.
Which seems incongruous because he seems like such a nice guy, but we know he's divorced from his wife, and we don't really know much about what went down. Maybe she knew. You don't know. Because we don't really know.
Yeah.
And
maybe that's why she left him.
It could be. Maybe she knew the truth. And yet, so Lloyd's relationship with Diane blossoms.
Yes.
They eventually become intimate.
They do. She tries to break up with him and push him away because she knows her dad, that's what he wants. But eventually she just can't because she has feelings for him, and they end up sleeping together.
They end up and there's this great coital love scene where he's shivering.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because Cameron Crowe said in the scene that there was something that happened to him once after he had sex with a girl that he couldn't stop shivering. So
Yeah.
he put that scene in the movie, and it was really important to him to get it right.
Yeah, and that scene seemed very believable.
It was very believable. And their relationship goes on, and again, it feels very believable, but she never kind of totally gives in to him.
No.
And like she takes him to the nursing home and introduces him around, and he's able to work and be with those people. He's very amenable. Like you can take Lloyd Dobler anywhere.
Yeah, you can.
But she never is as enamored of him as he is of her.
Right.
And they play that. I mean, did you get that idea?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you relate to that? Did a guy ever pursue you that he liked you a lot more than you liked him?
Yes.
And now, what is that like? Does it get hard? Like, as you're a girl, do you having to navigate that? Is that a hard thing to navigate?
Well, it is. Yes, it is difficult. Well, because you don't want to hurt the person's feelings, but yet.
So, did you eventually give in, or did you do what Diane does? Break up with him? Putting you on the spot.
Well.
So I'm finding things out about you by using the cover of talking about movies to find out about your past.
If it's somebody that I'm really not into, then I don't drag it out. I just break it off.
Oh, okay. All right.
And yeah.
All right. Well, but it is. I mean, it is kind of, and eventually she does. After this relationship is going on, we find out that the problems with the IRS are escalating. So there's a lot of pressure, and Diane she has a fellowship, so she's going to England.
Yeah.
And that like you said, 16 weeks, 4 months, the clock is ticking on their relationship. And so as the pressure at home gets too much, she basically, it's pretty lame. How did you feel about how she broke up with him? It's
really lame.
It was a lame, non-committal.
Yeah, like, let's be friends.
Yeah, it was so lame.
So he's like, okay. And then she's like, but we can't see each other. We can't see each other. So then he's like, are you breaking up with me?
Yeah, it was.
And this was right after he said that he loved her.
Right after he said he loved her. It was, but it
was brutal.
It was brutal, but it felt real. Like I've been in
real.
situations like that where you're like, hey, wait, what?
Yeah.
You're the guy, and you're like, wait, what? I thought our relationship was good.
It felt.
And you
real.
find out it's not good. That was lame. I didn't like Diane.
Yeah.
Did you like Diane in the movie?
Yeah. I mean, I liked her. I didn't like how she was playing him back and forth.
Yeah, I don't know if I like her. I would never have wanted to date a girl like her. Like, I love smart girls, but she wasn't charming.
She didn't have much personality.
Yeah, she didn't have much. Like, what did she like? What was her favorite band?
Yeah, she didn't have there wasn't a quirkiness to her. There wasn't something endearing about her.
No, and I mean, I understand. They make it sound like, well, she's a brain, so she studies all the time.
Yeah, okay.
And she works for her father. But, like, you're in Seattle.
She's a nice, smart girl.
Yeah, she's a nice, smart girl, but she never.
So nice.
Like, they never went anywhere. They never went to the Pike Place Market. They never went to Dick's Drive-In. They never went to Spud Fish and Chips.
That's true.
Like, there's nothing they never went to Alki. You've got this great city of Seattle, and, like, she had no place they never go see a movie.
Yeah, they go out on these dates. What do?
I don't know.
You just hang out at the nursing home.
It was, and there was like a brief love montage, but even then, they didn't go to any of the iconic Seattle places.
I don't know, Rob.
I'm just saying.
Lloyd was a super nice guy.
Would you date Lloyd Dobler?
I would definitely date a Lloyd Dobber.
Yeah, Dobler.
Dobber.
Dobber. You want Lloyd Dobler to dob you? Tell you that. No, I mean, I don't know. It was interesting that. So, then you find out what Mr. Court has been doing, and Mr. Court he is guilty. He has been taking money.
Well, she doesn't know that at first.
Right, she doesn't know it at first.
He's been accused of siphoning off money from people whose, family members have died at his nursing home, and he would just keep charging them. Somehow he was like,
he had a lot of things
taking
going.
money from,
he wasn't taking a ton of money. He was taking just enough to live comfortably, and he took a lot of cash, so there wasn't a lot. He was
putting it away for his daughter.
Yeah, he was putting away for his daughter, and in his mind, there's a great scene where she confronts him, and
because she at that point, when she goes to the detective to try to convince him that her father is innocent. And he tells her some information, then that's when she's like, oh my God, and she starts questioning
and
her
let's
dad.
talk about...
And her dad have a really great relationship. Like, she can tell him anything. So, when that detective tells her all this information...
And says it goes back 5 years, he's guilty. And I have to say, another casting coup in this movie, the great Philip Baker Hall, who is a great character actor. He's fantastic. He works a lot with Paul Thomas Anderson, the director. He's the cop that she's talking to, or the agent. And again, just in one scene, like Lois Chiles was in one scene, he's just in this one scene, and he's great.
Yeah.
Just laying out the truth for her. It's so great to see Philip Baker Hall. Like, this cast, I don't know how Cameron Crowe was able to just get all these great cast members to come in and like do one scene.
Yeah.
It's great.
He has a lot of friends.
But yeah, and then there's another great scene too that we should mention. It's my favorite scene in the movie.
But wait.
Oh.
Are you taking us out of the plot?
No. I just want to say while they've kind of broken up. Ione Skye's finding out about her dad, but John Cusack's also depressed about them being apart. And he's driving through the city one night alone, and then he says, I could go to the gas and sip, and I can hang out with the guys. And he does that, and there's Lauren Dean, there's Joe, and there's Jeremy Piven's character, and they're all sitting there drinking their Coke or whatever. And there's this great moment where John Cusack says, and they're all giving him advice.
Right.
And John Cusack finally says, if you guys know so much about women, like, what are you doing here at the gas and sip on a Saturday night? Like, why are you here? What are you here for? Like
it's a choice.
Yeah, by choice, man. By choice. And I mean, that was something that resonated with me throughout the 90s. What are you doing here? I'm by choice, man. I'm here by choice. I mean, it's such a great moment, and to see Lauren Dean and Jeremy Piven in these situations, and it's great because we've seen them sprinkled throughout the movie.
Right.
And it's great. And then, of course, juxtapose that with what's happening with Diane.
So after she sees the cop, she goes home, and she starts looking around. Excuse me. And she goes into his office, and there was this box that he had opened up and given her a ring out of when she graduated. So she goes to that box and she pries it open, and it's full of cash.
Cash-ola, stacks of hundies.
Yeah, so she's freaking out. So
and she knows he's guilty.
Yeah, so she goes to the nursing home where her dad is, and she confronts him.
And what's interesting is, what I love about that scene, and John Mahoney plays it great, he's justified everything he's done in his mind. Like so many people that he might know it's wrong, but he hasn't quite accepted his fate yet.
Right.
Like he's already lied to himself about it, and you realize that maybe that's why Lois Chiles left. And it's a great scene because the way he plays it, it felt so real that a man who's now confronted dead bang with his lies by the person he loves the most in the world, his daughter, and in his mind he was just taking care of her and this, that, and the other thing, and it's a great scene.
Yeah, and he gets defensive, like, I take great care of these people, He's
and he does.
Yeah,
he does, but that's the way of finagling out of that's in his own mind.
He's
by
trying
taking,
to justify it.
Yeah. I'm taking great care of these people, but you're stealing their money. It's really a great scene.
Yeah. So she confronts him, and then, he gets arrested.
Yeah, he goes right to the big house.
He does. He goes to jail.
Right into the slammer.
He goes for, I think, a year. And he used to do community service.
Something like that, but he's in jail.
He's in jail.
And Diane is going to leave because she has this fellowship that she's earned. She's going to England.
Yeah, so after he goes to jail, she decides that she needs Lloyd. That she loves him, and now that her dad is, like, in jail, she realizes that she loves him.
Which, I don't know about that either. I'm not a fan because, now that your dad's in jail,
right?
now I'm going to go reach out to this other person. Here's my life preserver, Lloyd Dobler.
Exactly.
You know, but again, it felt real.
Yeah, very
I might
real.
not have liked that.
Right.
Like, I am not a fan of Diane Court, to be honest. I'm not a fan. And you know she's not that good in bed either. So, like, there's not. I understand he loves her, but there's not a lot. For me, I didn't like her very much, even though I understood her. But she felt real, which is why I liked their relationship.
Yeah, totally.
So there's this great scene where Lloyd goes to prison.
Yeah.
To visit Diane's dad.
Well, wait. First, they get back together, so she goes and finds him. And he is now teaching at a kickboxing studio.
Right.
And
would you think he got that job later? Do you think he did?
He got that job after they broke up.
Okay.
And and so he's working there, and he's happy about that. He's found something, even though he was very depressed when they broke up, and he kept trying to get her back. And then that iconic scene where he's holding up the boombox and he's playing the music, the song that they had played when they had sex.
In Your Eyes, Peter Gabriel's In Your Eyes. Now, it's funny. That's
I loved that song.
The great iconic scene in that movie. And by the way, she doesn't succumb to that.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't. It doesn't work for her. And so we talk about that scene. You noticed something right away about the continuity of that scene.
Yeah.
I
didn't buy it.
Well, because when she's in bed, you see clearly outside the window that it's nighttime.
Right.
And
it wasn't even that. Okay, yeah, that bothered me. But what bothered me the most is he's in the middle of a park on a dirt road, and she's in a house, in a residence. Like,
yeah, but you never see the reverse. But as we saw, they tried to film that scene a number of times.
It would have been better on the street.
And they filmed it on the street, out in front of that house, on the hood of his car. They tried it a number of different ways, and it just didn't work. Cameron Crowe wasn't buying it. And then it was Laszlo Kovacs, the director of photography, who said, "I've got Zai. No ways we must shoot this scene." And it was the last shot of the film. And they shot it in this park when the sun was going down. And John Cusack wanted to sit on the hood of the car and have the boombox there, and it was Cameron Crowe said, "Hold it."
It was weird to hold it up like that.
Yeah, even though it became this iconic image, but when you see them juxtaposed and cut together, like I had never noticed for whatever reason, I'd never noticed it was nighttime. And you were the one that said, how can that? Where's he standing?
He's in a park.
It never bothered me because in my mind, I'm just like, in Seattle, people live across the street from parks.
No.
Like up on Capitol Hill or something?
Yeah,
sure.
but no. It was a dirt road, facing her house?
Could be. I mean, there are parks like that in Seattle. See, that never bothered me because there are places like that in Seattle.
Nope.
Well, I'm just telling you, there are.
Yeah, well, but no.
And you never see the reverse.
No, that was not across. No, that was not across.
All right. That's okay. That's a detail. I give that up to you. But I do like that scene.
It's a cool scene.
I like when he's and the camera push in is great.
It's just not next to her house.
Well, they did try and shoot it.
That's why she didn't succumb, because she couldn't hear it.
She couldn't hear it, right? But you just have to go with it. Like in the reality of the movie, you can't sit there and go, that's not that," because you've never seen those things tied together. So he could be there.
Okay, but no.
And maybe her windows.
Am I the only one, or come on, man?
I don't know. I mean, as your viceroy of verisimilitude, it did not bother me, but now it does bother me because the continuity. It's either it's dusk or dawn or something, and clearly it's nighttime in Diane Court's. In her bedroom, you see that it's nighttime outside.
Yeah.
So that was problematic.
And he was like miles away.
He was miles away. I mean, if this were Valley Girl, the Plimsolls would be singing a million miles away, but it's not. And yeah.
Okay, so anyway, she goes to the kickboxing place, and she she wants him back, and at first he resists, and then he quickly gives in, and they are back together.
They're back together, and then there's another good scene where you think John Cusack has gone by himself to visit John Mahoney in prison to give a letter that Diane has written her father.
Right.
And they have a pretty good conversation. I love when Lloyd Dobler's trying to be polite, and he's like, "How are you, sir?" And he's like, "I'm incarcerated, Lloyd." You know, it's a great. How do you think I am?
Yeah.
It's a great.
And then he asks him, "Are you going to go to England with my daughter?" And Lloyd is like, at first he's like, no.
He goes, no. He tells this long story.
Yeah.
And then you see the relief on John Mahoney's face, and then he goes, "But I reconsidered." and it's again, these scenes are great. The acting in this movie is great.
Yeah, the acting was really good.
And it's a great scene. And then of course Diane did come with Lloyd.
She did.
And then at the end of that scene, she kind of walks
when
in.
It's time for everyone to leave, all the visitors to leave, that's when she comes in.
That's when she comes in.
Yeah. I don't remember what she says to him.
I mean, it's a nice conversation, I guess, but John Mahoney's still like it's not. They don't end it on a "Oh, I love you, Dad" kind of thing. It's like, you fucked up. I'm going to England. We'll talk. We'll iron this out or whatever. We need some time apart, you know. And the ending of this movie, it ends kind of like it reminds me of the ending of The Graduate. Have you ever seen The Graduate?
Yes.
Well, when Catherine Ross and Dustin Hoffman are on the bus at the end, after he's taken her out of the wedding, you know, and they're just on the bus. This has that kind of an ending. They're on the plane, and they're getting ready to go. She's never been on a plane before.
Yeah.
She's terrified, and he's being very comforting to her.
Well,
and
she has been on a plane when she was 8. And there was a whole story of where, she had to get off the plane.
They had to turn the plane around
because she was
terrified. She was screaming.
So they're on the plane. They're in the middle section, and they are, and he's trying to calm her down. And
it's a very cute scene.
It is a very, very cute scene. It felt very real. And that's it.
Well, and then the plane's leaving, and they're both looking up. He tells her things are going to be okay when the fasten the seatbelt thing dings off. And they're both, the movie ends with they're both kind of looking up. They're not looking at each other. They're looking up, and it cuts to black, and you hear the ding go off. So Lloyd was correct, and then the credits roll.
Yeah.
So it ends on a more of there's a bit of ambiguity at the end, which I really liked. So let me ask you, Elizabeth, what did you think of Say Anything?
I liked this film. I thought it was nice.
That's it? You thought it was
the
nice?
The acting was good. The story was...
You thought it was nice. Come on.
The story was good.
The story was good. It was nice. I mean, let's have a little bit more intellectual analysis. Yeah, I could tell you weren't enamored of this movie. You didn't love it.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I hate it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It felt very real. Like the whole thing between them, the way they were, felt very real for kids in high school or graduating from high school.
You know, this movie was not universally well received.
Really?
It got good reviews, but also like the New York Times, there was I think a woman reviewer in the New York Times reviewed the film, and she was talking about how it felt almost like a children's story because you have no real perspective. Like it's a kid looking, like even the thing that happens with Mr. Court, it's almost from a little kid's point of view that a father has betrayed them. The kids you have no sense of the real world that's out there. You only are seeing their like hermetically sealed existence. You don't.
But that's what it's like when you're in high school.
I know.
I don't know. That's what made it feel so real.
See,
because you're young at that point, and you're graduating from high school, and you're going to go out into the world. You don't know the outer world. Maybe you've traveled a little, but still, your world is the high school that you're in.
Right, and then that when you leave high school, I mean, I remember what was really interesting was I knew what I wanted to do my whole life. So for me, it was just when I left high school, it was the beginning of something else. But you know, you're going to school from the time where I grew up. I went kindergarten through 12th grade.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't move anywhere, so I'd been going to school with these people, and I knew these people. That's a long time.
It is a long
You know,
time.
it's 13 years of your life where, and that's the majority of your life. I mean, you graduated from high school. I was 18. I just turned 18.
Yeah,
We graduated,
I mean, it's where you learn how to have relationships with people.
But then suddenly, not just relationships, but you've had this group of friends and this circle of people, and then it's just over.
It's over.
You know, from the time you're 5 years old to the time you're 18, and then that world is gone. Like, there's no, you don't get to go back to it. It's a world that is now, it's concluded. You know, it's over.
It's over.
And then there was definitely this sense of that party was the last hurrah. And then, I like that about this movie. It's sort of an undercurrent, but I remember leaving high school thinking it is over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had something to look forward to because I know what I wanted to do, but you're out in the wilderness. Like, you know, you're going to college as a whole new, it's not like you go to college with 5 of your friends. You know, you're out, you're gone. You have, it's almost like you're moving to another planet, you know, if you're doing that.
You are.
and you did get a sense of that. I mean, I did feel that in this movie, but watching it again, I felt like you. I've always had great affection for this movie, but watching it now, like obviously we watched my 20th anniversary Blu-ray, which had to have come out in 2009 or 2010. So it's a Blu-ray that I bought. I don't know when it came out, but I mean, I had to have bought it, I don't know, a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
So the last time I probably watched this movie was when I bought this Blu-ray.
Okay.
And so I hadn't seen it in a while, and seeing it now, I didn't like it as much as I used to like it.
Interesting.
Like, I didn't.
Do you think it's dated? Is that why?
No, I don't think it's dated because it is set in 1989. Like, when I watch this movie, I'm like, here's a glimpse of the time, and I think it's I don't think it's dated now because I think the reality of it was refreshing. Nowadays, you know, everything you watch, there's very few movies, even when you watch, like, we watch Booksmart with Beanie Feldstein, and I liked Booksmart a lot, but that movie does not seem, it certainly has no bearing on what my experience. It was to me, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Those girls were movie characters. This movie felt really real and authentic, but it's hard because you don't see teen films. They're all heightened. You know, you get like Euphoria on HBO where everybody's addicted to pills and, you know, they're hooking. I mean, the world has become very strange.
Very strange.
I mean, for teenagers, it's a bizarre universe now.
It is. Yes. Having 2 teenagers is so different than when we were teenagers. It's very weird. And kids don't even date the way we used to date. Like, it's weird.
It is really, really weird.
It's really weird.
Like my experience of seeing the world through your teenage daughter's eyes, and there's no resemblance to anything I understand as a teenager, and the levels of anxiety and the thing, like,
yes,
we were so, compared to nowadays, we were so chill. Like, everything was chill. It was like,
I don't remember anybody having anxiety in high school.
Yeah, I mean,
you get nervous before a test, but that's about
right.
it.
and it was more like, you know, yes. And nowadays, I mean, we didn't have, you know, like Instagram. You are creating false narratives about your own life as a teenager now. You know, let me get the perfect picture, and then you if you were to scroll back through your own Instagram feed as a teenage girl. I mean, I've heard this, you know, like Zoe talks sometimes about this, how you look at your own pictures and you've created, you don't even recognize yourself in pictures you took of yourself and put on your Instagram feed. Yeah. You're creating a false narrative about your own life.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Like, we didn't have false narratives about our own lives. No. We were living our own lives.
You know what? We didn't have phones. If you weren't home and you didn't get that phone call, you didn't get that phone call.
And there's a lot of there's even a scene in that movie where Ione Skye when Diane doesn't call her father, and she's like, how come you didn't call me? You always call me. Well, Dad, you know, I didn't.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal, like calling home. And nowadays, I mean, the world is completely different.
So different.
But, so did you like the movie, though?
I did. I liked the movie.
I mean, I liked the relationships. I liked the characters. I liked hanging out. I found it very agreeable to watch.
It felt very real.
I mean, but now that it felt real. But now that I'm middle-aged, I guess I'm far enough away that I just don't.
Yeah, but it was during it was during my time in high school.
I mean, look, I had just moved to Los Angeles. when this. So I probably saw this movie. I'm sure because I did see it in the theater, and I mean I liked it, but it felt different for me. I didn't like it as much when I watched it this time.
Interesting.
And
That happens.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because I'm now much further away from it as a human being. You know, I'm 31 years away from it, and when I saw it the first time, I was 21. You know, I just moved out of my house and moved to LA, and now, I mean, I'm a decade. I'm being 31 years out. It changes.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Well, interesting.
Yes.
We have a letter.
Interesting.
We have a letter.
We do.
We have a letter.
That's awesome.
And our letter, by the way, if you want to write us letters, you can send letters to the Burnettwork at our website. Go to theburnettwork.net. We just revamped the website. And all the letters people write us are on the website. You can go respond to these letters. This comes from Timbula the Spider Monkey. Hello, Rob and Elizabeth. I was going to send this letter to be read on Robservations, then I remembered it was a WINEning that this question was raised, so I guess it gives me a good excuse to finally send a letter to Elysabeth.
Awesome.
A few episodes ago, I don't remember which one exactly, you asked about which 10 films you'd want with you if you were stranded on a desert island. By the way, I love this question, so all of you send us your desert island movie selections. Well, I don't need to be asked twice to compile a list, so here you go. Note, these are not my favorite 10 movies of all time, rather the ones that I could watch over and over again and be entertained by each time.
Interesting.
Number 1, Lawrence of Arabia. This may seem a bit heavy for such a list, but for reasons I can't explain, I watch this film every year on Christmas Eve. Oh. It's become a tradition, and I get just as much out of it each time I watch it. I recently acquired the brand new 4K disc. I can't wait to watch that.
We should do that, maybe.
Number 2, King Kong. To be clear, of course, I'm talking about the 1933 original. There are a few films I grew up on that I watched so many times I literally broke the VHS tape. I could not tell you how many times I've watched King Kong, but every time I get to the end, I shed a tear. 3, Dawn of the Dead. Right up there, baby. Right up there. Dawn of the Dead. I know people who still just consider this a mindless gore fest. I am not one of them, as you all know, if you watched my appreciation of Dawn of the Dead this past week. Seriously, how? This film has so many layers and has so much to say about consumerism and our almost commonplace views on violence. Yes, it does, and much more. Number 4, Jason and the Argonauts. Another videotape I broke as a child. This is the first movie I remember watching. My dad thought I'd like it, so he sat me down in front of the TV to watch it as a 5-year-old. I don't think a year has passed since then that I haven't watched it at least once. 5, The Blues Brothers. Probably the biggest influence on my musical taste is the soundtrack to this movie. Because of this film, I became a fan of Sam and Dave, Taj Mahal, Solomon Burke, Cab Calloway, James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, John Lee Hooker, and would expand my interest in blues and soul music. This movie makes the list because of the music, but also because it's a damn good film. Number 6, Duck Soup. Of course, there had to be at least one Marx Brothers movie on this list, and I picked this one, not just because it's my favorite, but also because the musical numbers in some of their films I'm not a fan of. I like the musical numbers of this one. Number 7, Raiders of the Lost Ark. This film is just so watchable, rewatchable. That being said, it's not my favorite Indiana Jones film. I actually prefer Temple of Doom. But I have to admit, if I was picking one I had to watch over and over again, Raiders would get the nod. Well, because Raiders is the best of the movies. Number 8, and a movie that appeared on this show, War of the Worlds, 1953. I think I told you before that I wasn't enamored with this film the first time I saw it. What? Since I love the book and wanted it to be a period piece, but it is a period piece. But the more I've watched it, the more I've come to love it. I love 50s sci-fi, so at least one was going to be picked, and it was a tough choice between this, them, Earth versus the Flying Saucers, and The Day the Earth Stood Still. Man, I love those movies. But I ended up going with this because it's the most rewatchable. I agree. Timeless. And the color in it, too, is very entrancing. Number 9, The Avengers. This may not be my favorite comic book film, very close though, but I think this captures the feel of a live-action comic better than most others. I agree. If I couldn't have my comic collection with me, this would be the next best thing. I agree. Number 10. Here, hand me that. Number 10. Big Trouble in Little China. Here is the Scream Factory special edition that comes with a 45 single of the Coupe de Ville's Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China, I was compelled to have a John Carpenter film in this list, since so many of his films I can watch again and again. This one makes the list since it's a little bit of everything. Part fantasy, part martial arts film, part horror, part comedy, part all-out action film. There are so many I would have chosen, but they were part of a series. I would find it hard to pick just one. Like the original Star Wars trilogy or The Lord of the Rings, I was okay picking just one Indiana Jones film since each one is its own story. Others I love, but don't know if I'd want to rewatch them that often, like my favorite movie of all time, The Seven Samurai. Well, that's my list. I'd be interested to hear what other members of the Singularity would pick as theirs. And as always, I'll leave you with a Groucho Marx quote. You girls have got everything. You're tall and short and slim and stout and blonde and brunette. And that's just the kind of girl I crave. Until next time, you're a friendly neighborhood spider monkey signing off. That is from Tim.
Wow.
Well, thank you, Tim. I appreciate that.
Very cool letter.
Now let's jump in and see what you guys are saying or asking or all of that. David Goldstein is here and sends in a super chat and says, if you're going to watch Star Wars, would you pop in the 4K disco or put it on Disney Plus? Well, I'll tell you. If I was going to watch Star Wars, I would watch the files that I have of the original 1977 versions. I have various versions, the despecialized version, the Team Negative version. I do have Star Wars despecialized on disc. I have a Blu-ray of it. And I would watch my original 1977, 1980, and 1983 versions, but of Star Wars, my original 77 version. So I'd either watch the file, which I can watch here, or I would watch my Blu-ray of that. So I could watch either one. Julius A. Goodwin. Julius is here, so he heard us talk about his wine kit that we're very excited about. Julius says, first off, good evening to you both, and good luck, Miss Elizabeth, on your finals.
Well, thank you.
And everything.
Thanks.
Now, how do you not have any wine? What happened to the second bottle of pink wine for dudes you got? Oh,
Yeah, what happened to that bottle of wine?
I drank it.
He drank it without me.
I drank it.
What, because you thought, because it says dudes on it, you
Yeah.
thought it was just for you?
Yeah. I drank it. Some generous soul who shall remain nameless. Pink wine for dudes. It was there. Johnny Stewart says, John, oh, Cameron, my Cameron, little boy of all. Thanks. You know what? Cameron Crowe is the man, and Almost Famous is one of my favorite films of all time. And he you know, say anything, and also singles are great Seattle movies, so I will always love him. Julius Goodwin sends in another tip and says, also, I hope the corks come in useful. But I thought you only had to let wine ferment a month to get a good effect from it. Well, they said you actually in the instruction book, they said you could drink it right away, but that it's better if you wait 6 months.
Yeah.
So they do say you can drink it right away, but they do suggest 6 months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could try both.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many bottles the kit makes.
I don't know, but I thought you only had to let wine ferment a month to get a good effect from it. I know the longer it sits, the better wine ages, but 6 months, as Shaggy and Scooby-Doo would say, zoinks! Scooby-Doo!
Yep.
Yes. The Squish Show sends in a super chat and says, John Cusack was awesome in Con Air. Con Air. Everybody was awesome in Con Air. You know what, though? I've got to watch Con Air. I don't remember John Cusack's character. I remember Cyrus the Virus, John Malkovich, and I remember, like, is John Cusack is the government agent? I need to see that again. I've only seen that movie once.
I've seen that movie.
Johnny Stewart says, but would you date Lloyd Braun?
Who's that?
I'm not sure I know who Lloyd Braun is.
I don't know who that is.
I'm not sure, Johnny. I don't know. I wouldn't. Garen Gillum is here. Sends in a tip and says, hi, Rob and Elizabeth. I've been very busy the past few months and I haven't had much time to interact with your shows, but managed to catch this live show.
Awesome.
Rob, great to hear you back on the Inglorious Trexperts. Continue to stay safe, you too. We're doing a pretty good job staying safe.
Yeah.
Yes, I am on the Inglorious Trexperts podcast this week talking about Star Trek novels with Dayton Ward and David Mack, which is fun. Fun to go back and get on the show.
Cool.
Johnny Stewart sends in a super chat and says, it wishes it was John Hughes. That's the reality. You know, I don't know if that's... I think this is uniquely... Remember, before there was John Hughes, Cameron Crowe wrote Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And he also wrote The Wildlife. So it's not like Cameron Crowe... He predates John Hughes.
Yeah, and this is not like a cheesy, cliche kind of teenage film.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think this has a little bit more verisimilitude than John Hughes movies.
I think so.
I really do. But I like it. John says he's just checking in to show us both support. Well, thank you for that. Cheers to you both. Cheers to you, sir.
Thank you.
Timbula is here. There's just something about John Cusack that makes him very watchable. I don't know if I've seen him in a film where I haven't at least liked him in it. My favorites are Grosse Pointe Blank. He's great in Grosse Pointe Blank. Better Off Dead or Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Yeah, those are all great choices. I mean, he had a great 20-year, 25-year run. And, I mean, I really did like him in Runaway Jury. There's so many movies that he was in. It makes me want to look. Like, let's take a gander.
And then he just disappeared.
No, he's still making movies, but he's not... He's become a political activist, but it's not... that let's check out his IMDb and let's take a gander back at John Cusack's filmography. Wow, so we're gonna let's go all the way back. He was in 16 Candles, a small part. The Sure Thing, of course, a great John Cusack performance, and that was 85. The Sure Thing, Better Off Dead, The Journey of Natty Gann, Stand By Me, One Crazy Summer, Broadcast Nudes. He was in Tapeheads, 8 Men Out, Say Anything, Fat Man and Little Boy, The Grifters, True Colors, Shadows and Fog, Roadside Prophets, The Player, Bob Roberts, Bullets Over Broadway, The Road to Wellville, City Hall. I like City Hall. Grosse Pointe Break, Con Air, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, The Thin Red Line, Pushing Tin. I liked him in that. The Cradle Will Rock, Being John Malkovich, which is incredible. High Fidelity is great.
Ooh, High Fidelity.
Serendipity. Adaptation is great. Identity, I like that. Runaway Jury. Must Love Dogs. The Ice Harvest. Yeah, I mean, this is amazing. The Martian Child, 1408 is good. 2012. 2012.
So he didn't disappear.
Hot Tub Time Machine. I mean, amazing. The Number Station, which I kind of like. But then his movies kind of, they're not as highbrow. I mean, he's still making movies. They're just not.
Yeah, that's weird.
But he is in the new TV series Utopia that Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl, and it's a remake of the British show. He stars in that as Dr. Kevin Christie. So he's been around. I mean, look, he's made a lot of movies. He's 88 credits as an actor.
A lot of movies.
Yeah, that's good. So you're right, Tim. You are right. Claudius is here. Bonjour, mon ami.
Hello.
This film is awkward and real. The same year as Do the Right Thing. James L. Brooks came up with the idea for this story and hired Cameron Crowe. Legendary film producer, the late Polly Platt, introduced Crowe to Laszlo Kovacs. Yeah, and Polly Platt is actually in this movie, briefly, and which is sort of interesting. But yeah, and again, like there's the deleted scenes. There's a scene where one of Diane's teachers, played by Dan Castellaneta, who does the voice of Homer Simpson, where he hits on her.
Oh, that scene is so gross.
It's so gross.
I don't even know why they would even make that scene.
Like, would you date me?
It would change the whole feel of that movie.
It
would
really
change
did.
It into something else.
All of the deleted scenes in this movie should
have been deleted.
Gone. Should be gone. Yeah, I mean, Laszlo Kovacs did a great job. I do like the way this movie looks because it's not overlit. It has Seattle verisimilitude. Sean M. sends a very nice super chat in and says, speaking of Groucho, my favorite quote is, I don't want to belong to any club that will accept me as a member, but everyone here right now is cool. You're a great group of people, everybody. Much love. I guess that's not part of what he said. Johnny Stewart comes back and says, Hughes is God of the 80s. Lloyd Braun is Seinfeld. Oh, is that true? Well,
Seinfeld.
I'm not up on my Seinfeld. I know I should be, but I'm not. I've always liked that quote by Groucho Marx. I think that's a great, great, great quote. And there's truth to it. Sipho Claudius says, Ohioans are known for being level-headed and wry, Rob. Rob, is Elysabeth level-headed? Elysabeth, how would you characterize those Gen X guys from Seattle? I think Elysabeth is very level-headed. For the most part.
For the most part?
Well, you're level-headed. Sometimes you get... When something bad could happen, if there's something that might go pear-shaped, Elysabeth will always get stressed out about the worst part. If there's something that could happen that could go one way or the other, she will always think it's going to go into the worst direction and stress out about it before it's happened. That's the only time you're not level-headed. Wouldn't you agree that's true, though?
But not always, not all situations.
No, but only the situations that could have the most dire of consequences.
Right. Well, you have to be prepared for the worst scenario.
I agree. But you if you don't know what's going to happen, there's no reason on dwelling. Why wind yourself up when it might not happen?
Tell that to my brain.
Well, okay. Well, now what about the second part of that question? How would you characterize Gen X guys from Seattle?
I only know you from Seattle.
Well, how would you characterize me?
Chill, fun.
Chill and fun. I'm pretty chill.
Yeah, you're a lot like Lloyd.
I think I'm kind of like I'm a little Dobler-esque.
You are. Yeah.
I think that's true. Yeah, I don't get too stressed. I mean, I'm pretty even keel.
Yeah, I think so.
Because there's no reason to not be.
Right. Sometimes a little too much.
Sometimes a little too much. Uh-oh.
Yep.
Well, what are you going to
chill.
do? See, Johnny says Hughes is the god of the 80s. I like... John Hughes was right there. When I was in high school, I mean, John Hughes was making movies. 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club. I really like Some Kind of Wonderful, which is, he rectified the mistake of the end of Pretty in Pink, and it's interesting, like Eric Stoltz being in that movie, and I don't know if but again, his movies are constructs. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which I love, but that's not real. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a. Yeah,
but you know what? Movies don't always have to be real.
No, they don't.
And I love all those movies.
Oh, I do too. I was hugely entertained by them. But I didn't feel they resonated. They didn't resonate with me. I didn't feel them on a deeply emotional level. I think Say Anything was more...
Well, for me it was Breakfast Club. I watched that movie over and over and over and over and over and over again.
A neo-maxi zoom dweeby.
Yeah. And I also watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
So in Breakfast Club,
again.
did you identify with Molly Ringwald or...
I don't know. Maybe a little bit of each of them.
All right.
I don't know. I just loved that movie.
I like Breakfast Club too, and I
don't know how I would feel about it now.
Well, I do have the Blu-ray. I do own the Criterion
It'd be
Blu-ray.
interesting to watch it again.
Yeah, well, we could.
We could do that just to see how we feel about it now.
I have a Funko Pop of John Bender.
Do you really?
I do. That's the only... I only own 2 Funko Pops. John Bender and Hannibal Lecter from Brian Fuller's Hannibal TV series. And he's right up there.
Oh, yeah, I see him.
Yeah, he's with my books, my first edition Hannibal books.
Oh,
so
he's hanging out with his books.
He's hanging out with his books. Well, so I guess that brings us to an end of this show.
Yes.
So now comes the moment of truth, Elysabeth, on our apparently
on our
barren bottles of...
Our bottoms up sparkling water scale.
Yes. No, we're going to keep it. The bottoms up scale. Tell us what the bottoms up scale is.
So the bottoms of scale is from 1 to 4 because there are 4...
1 to 4 what?
Glasses. 1 to
Glasses.
4 glasses because there are 4 glasses of wine in a bottle.
4 glasses of wine in a bottle. So
Yes.
on that scale, what would you give Say Anything?
I will give Say Anything 2.75 glasses.
2.75 glasses. Wow.
What?
Wow, that's interesting. I'm going to give it a solid 3.
Okay.
I'm giving it a solid 3 glasses. Yeah.
Okay.
A solid 3.
A solid 3.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, Johnny Stewart sends in a super chat and says, Hughes is Spielberg, same cup, heroes, and LGBTQ, etc. That's interesting. I don't know if I don't know if there was a lot of LGBTQ representation in John Hughes movies.
I don't know.
I think it's interesting. I think if they made like, I always thought Ducky could have been a gay character, and it would have worked. I think if they remade that movie, if they remade Pretty in Pink now, Ducky would be gay.
See, I've only seen that film once, so...
You've only seen Pretty in Pink once?
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't think I've seen 16 Candles.
What? Well, it does have problematic portrayals of Long Duck Dong. It does. It's a little problematic. You know, Johnny, little problematic representation going on in those John Hughes movies. But great soundtracks. Great soundtracks. Ferris Bueller has a great soundtrack. She's Having a Baby. Great use of Love and Rockets, Haunted When the Minutes Drag. Great stuff. Well, I guess that brings us an end of this episode. Elizabeth's episode 66.
Yeah.
We will be back tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, Flash. Ah.
Do you know what we're doing Wednesday?
Savior of the Universe. Yeah, we're going to do The Right Thing with Claude.
And then Friday... What did I say? Was it... Which one? In what order? I picked 3.
I don't know. You know, if you don't remember, you.
I'll have to look back.
Okay, you got to look
I'll
back.
ask Richard. Do you remember Richard? What did I say?
So yes, Flash. I can't wait.
You can't wait.
Clytus, I'm bored. What plaything can you offer me today? An obscure body in the SK system, Your Majesty. The inhabitants refer to it as...
Okay, are you going to just quote the whole movie?
I'm just kidding. I could probably quote the whole movie.
I'd like to watch it.
Flash Gordon, quarterback, New York Jets.
Are you going to quote
Sorry, I'm not going to
we watch it?
No.
Because you do that.
No.
You don't have to prove to me that you know all the words.
I know. It's a stupid thing I do. All right, well, we're going to bring an end to this movie, an end to this episode.
Shape of Water. Thank you, Richard.
Oh, there we go. The Shape of Water. So we're doing The Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, and then, yes, Shape of Water.
Okay, so Flash Gordon tomorrow night. I want to thank everybody for their generous contributions to the channel. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for supporting the channel. And remember, if you do want to send me letters or videos like BL Alley does, you can do that at theburnettwork.net. Go to the website, and if you do write letters, we're getting all those letters as they used to be back up on the website, so you can read everybody else's letters, you can comment on the letters, and we do have the Imagination Connoisseur Gallery, which we're going to get back up there, so if you want to send us pictures of your movie collection or whatever, please do so. And, which is great. I want to thank our moderating staff, of which we have a lot here. We've got Joshua Levesque, we've got the Richard, here. Do we have anyone else? Well, just the two of you, I guess, which is great. Thank you for being here. And of course, the Richard, if you ever want to go watch his Zoom parties or his watch parties, go to the Post-Geek Singularity Facebook page or the WINEning About Movies Facebook page and find the Richard. He's always got something interesting happening. He's probably got something interesting happening
Zoom watch parties now.
Tonight, yeah. And I also want to thank my other moderating staff, Mike Bodden and Greg Smith. And, Mr. Derringer is here. Mr. Derringer is here. Robert Priso. And I want to thank all of them for the great job that they do. So thank you, gents. Do you have anything you want to say?
Free the toys.
The toys are being freed. I mean, I'm opening toys. You know what I've been opening? I've been opening more of my Eagle transporters. Look at this.
No, I want figures.
I know, but...
There's like a million. You have that same one everywhere. How many of those do you have? You have like 10 of them.
Well, yeah, but you can never have too many different Eagle transporters. This one has extra booster rockets.
They look like bugs.
They're eagles. They're the greatest things in the world. And I can't look. I got them up there. I got lots of them. Got my collection of eagles.
I want you to open the figures.
The figures.
The figures.
All right, well, maybe. I'm getting there. Getting to the figures. All right, well, that brings us to an end of Elizabeth's number 66.
66.
Do you want to take us out?
Everyone you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen.
So, yeah, be seeing you. Okay, and then what?
Have a better night.
Have a better night.
Yep.
Thank you all. Tomorrow, Flash!